a letter of FHCA and the borough about to build and maintenance of the structure. On that front, several board members will be attending the March 1st committee meeting. As for the eco district, since being approved last month by the Pennsylvania Department of Energy and Economic Development, Keystone Community Program for funding, we have met with Chris Mondolo and Anna Rosenblum at Evolve EA, who will lead us through this exciting project. Eddie Wilson, Director of Curriculum and Grant for the Woodland Hills School District, is also involved, and he will be bringing students to work with us in many thanks. Has the fire chief present, and Woodland Hills EMS is also not present. Solicitors report, Mr. Corbett. Thank you. Next, Wilkinsburg Penn Joint Water Authority report. And we have some updates. We had a total of 5 breaks: Burlington, Glasgow, Geisler, Marion, and the Barclay side of lands. All breaks have been repaired, and the restoration will take place in the spring. Next, we have Operation Warlock Arts, and Ms. Allison, you would like to talk to us.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for having me this evening for this brief presentation. My name is Allison Holtz. My address is 5544 Beverly Place in Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, not Forest Hills, but Pittsburgh. But I'm a huge fan of Forest Hills and the wonderful reception that Operation Valor Arts has received regarding the veteran sculpture that will be located at Forest Hills Veteran Housing, 1844 Ardmore Boulevard. So a few items. I understand that the voting regarding a donation of $1,000 to our project will take place this evening, and I hope it's appropriate, but I'm going to thank the council in advance. The monies will be used to provide benches, and we will make sure that the council, the borough, is credited for this donation. We are moving ahead, moving on schedule. And I'd like to announce that on May 13th, the morning of May 13th, we will be hosting a groundbreaking ceremony. I spoke with the mayor prior to the meeting, and I hope to be assigned someone to work with as a liaison to make sure that all the people are invited who need to be regarding the borough, and also the best way to promote this event throughout Forest Hills. Now, I understand, and I asked if I was advised to bring up the question for the item of the mayor's resolution. Is that appropriate? Would that be regarding the monies or something additionally?
So just to answer your question, the monies will be approved by vote. The council will handle that.
Yes.
The authority just approve the money, so that's going to be done by a majority vote of council. As far as a resolution, I think it would probably be appropriate to have a resolution or proclamation read at the ceremony.
Or perhaps even waiting until the dedication.
Yeah,
Which will be, we hope will follow within several months.
So, really, it's whatever you think is best. I'm happy to accommodate that.
Thank you.
Do a proclamation at the event.
Excellent, yes.
I'm happy to do that.
Yes, thank you. Now, I have a final request. And in the process of lining up contractors, donations of local contractors for the sculpture, I happen to have learned that one of the finest and most knowledgeable concrete persons in this region is an employee of the Borough Department of Public Works, and that is Benny. And his name now has come up several times because apparently this guy is a genius when it comes to concrete. I would very much hope that the borough would have an actual hands-on contribution to our project. And I'm wondering if it would be appropriate to ask the borough to allow Benny to supervise the pouring of the concrete. We do have donations for excavation, concrete, but to involve him in the process, I don't think it would take more than a day, at the very most. I think it would be very meaningful, and we want to ensure that the workmanship behind this project is unparalleled. Are there any questions?
When do you need a decision for that?
Pardon me?
When do you need a decision if Benny can help?
We're not sure. We haven't,
We have time, so.
yeah,
Okay.
we will make that, it will probably have more of an idea of the timeline for
We're
construction.
gonna basically move it to the March 1st committee meeting of public works we talk about.
Yes, and I would certainly come again. I might have more information,
It will be on
but,
Zoom.
pardon
It
me?
will be on Zoom. Just join.
Yes, but I want to say again that I can't imagine working with a better group in terms of support and being receptive to this project, and I know you'll be proud of it. Okay,
Yeah.
Just to be clear, you're asking for him to just provide oversight, are you pouring like a base? Or a
yes,
foundation
we have,
for the actual-
and actually, I will forward a set of drawings to the Department of Public Works. So, yes, we have a foundation for the actual sculpture and for the benches. So, yeah, and as I said before, we do have the donations for the materials, but just to have him there, now that I've learned how capable he is, would be great.
Just don't tell him he's a genius.
All right, thank you. Yes, pass on any and all compliments. I do have a card. Is there anyone who would like one of my cards? Yes, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have the other committee board reports. Ms. DiMarco.
Thank you. Under Connect, we will be having our Congress of resolutions in April, and we will be doing a presentation at the A-Line meeting in Seven Springs. And they're continuing to act on the climate action plan, which will be among the resolutions that are adopted in April. And we are also advancing the fire services study to the next stage of implementation. And that has also attracted attention at statewide level. And will be coming. Yeah, and the Pennsylvania Municipal League meeting in October, their annual meeting will be in Pittsburgh. So we are the host community. I would hope that many of us could attend because we won't have to pay for the hotel. And I have extended an invitation to them to come and have our building as part of the tour of Pittsburgh, features that might be offered to the attendees of this statewide meeting. I am on the program committee, and I will be putting a panel together on infrastructure resilience. And we'll be drawing on the expertise of many of you together. So that's all.
Thank you. I have a very brief report. I attended the Allegheny County Board Association banquet, and it was very unfortunate for Mr. Morris because last year he won the big award and there was no banquet because of poor. But this year I was very pleased. The president of the association, he mentioned Stephen Morris his award at his speech. So they was nice. That's all for that. So Mr. Lawrence. Next, we have the public comment section, and we have one change compared to what we did in the past. At this time, any citizen can address council for 5 minutes on agenda item and non-agenda item. Meaning we used to have a second session at the end of the meeting. Now both of them are merged into one. And I believe we have Mr. Tomasik.
Yes. Thank you. Bill Tanasic, 140 Kangaroo Drive, TOMASIC. I believe I gave everyone should have a copy of the police report that I'm referencing. Marcus, if you give everybody. This for in the future, this is going to be the change. Is this always going to be the way that we're going to have a comment? And thank you. So last year, council passed a right to respond ordinance. However, I don't believe that there is any process in place that tells me exactly or anybody what to do in order to go through that process. What can I submit? How do I submit it? To whom, etc. So I would ask that maybe your ops and policy put together something with your solicitor, Mr. Corbel, and there's a process that everybody can follow. Okay. Now, the reason that I am submitting, or I want to submit this, is due to the fact that, as you can see, there's a daily log entry that was made by Ian Sharp on 5/29/2019. The reason that I've waited so long is because I was a member of council and I didn't want to have conflict at the time. Now that I'm a citizen, I want to respond to the report. And if you read the report, I will need to go into some of the gross details. In this report, my name is mentioned, and accusations and allegations are made by Sharp, saying that I was loud and all these other things. I use particular language which is in that report. And specifically, it was at 1500 hours or 3 p.m. to 1510 or 3:10 p.m. Okay, so his time frame that he quote heard and saw this stuff is between that particular time frame. And then he didn't put the report into place until 6 days after the event. Some points that I want to make. Number one, the mayor was there at the time, Mr. Corbel, and he denied that these things took place. He was the only witness that was there the entire time. Okay, that could view my actions from beginning to end, that I was in the building party for about 25 minutes or so. Okay, the tapes that we do have on the borough has possession, or some of them, okay, show that there were people around this vicinity the entire time, but that there was no witness account from Dan Sharp. He never walked over to the area, which was about a minute away at most from where he was at, to the hallway, which he says he saw me. Out of those 10 witnesses, he doesn't have one name. Our manager was there, other borough employees were there. I guess about 10 in all. He never talked to anyone, not even the mayor. Okay? There were 4 other police officers there, and none of them that were there have shown or corroborated what Sharp said. Okay? It was investigated because we had to do an investigation because they used this particular report, all right, that Dan Sharp put on his daily log entry as a justification for then attacking me personally. They shows a total disregard for the truth and accuracy. It's shoddy police work. You're making an accusation against somebody. You don't tell them that you put this in the name of the report. and he doesn't have any witnesses. Okay, and that's not the first time that those guys have done this. You can check with your chief of police, he can give you some additional information. You know, I would expect this from people that are not witnesses, but not from people who are sworn up in the law. I want to make sure that I have a process in place that I can follow so that I can submit something in writing that's attached to his data log entry, because as of right now, that is the only thing that exists in writing without anything being refuted. And anybody can access them as a public record. Okay, so that's my request. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to suggest that we will move it to awesome policy. Do you have any other speakers?
Yes. Ethan Berry, 324 Avenue F, Forest Hills. A couple items I'd like to discuss with the Department of the
You can
Borough.
take your mask off.
Didn't get your name, I'm sorry.
Ethan Berry. First, I'd like to commend the Mr. Thielacker and the Public Works crew for an excellent job clearing the streets this year. They do an excellent job. I've been in the borough for about 20 years now, and I can't count the number of times I've had problems with snow in Forest Hills. And from what I've read on Nextdoor, we're one of the few around here that is excellent on road crews. Next is a question for the chief. You said that you're moving to the new app for notifying citizens, or does that still include phone calls for people who are not using? You have to have the app.
We're gonna have to come up with another plan for that, so. That's something that's coming along as we move with this, to find out exactly who needs that particular.
I would ask that you continue to search for a way to do phone calls, because probably on my street, there are a number of people who don't
I'm
have
aware of
access.
the number of older people that really don't have access to that.
Yeah.
We're aware of that, and we are, we have another plan.
Next, I have a question for the council. I brought this up, I sent an email to one of the council members after back. But I have a question about the electronic billboard that is now down on Barber Boulevard, down across, I guess it would be behind Alley Rate. And I believe it's on Westinghouse research property. It's of the
I don't think
it
it
is
is.
still on?
Yeah. It's not that one.
Okay, that answers my question.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, that answers the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't think we have any other speakers, so we can move on. Our next scheduled committee meetings are March 1st, Tuesday on Zoom for property, policy, public safety, and public works. And then we have on Tuesday, March 8th, our committee of the whole, finance and planning and so also on Zoom. So we move into the committee reports. First up, Mr. Vaughn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the minutes from the January 3rd, 2022 organization meeting of council.
Do you have a second? We can do a voice vote. Everyone in favor says aye, please.
Aye. I move to approve the minutes from the January 11th, 2022 special meeting of council.
Second. Good. Right, any comments? No, we can do a voice vote. Everyone in favor says aye, please.
All right, I move to promote Administrative Assistant Allison Sirkowski to the position of Treasurer in the Borough effective March 1, 2022, and approve the employment agreement prepared by Borough Solicitor for the Treasurer position.
Second,
Any comments on this? No, we can do a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bialki? Yes. Mr. Belay?
Yeah.
Mr. Marco?
yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins? President Erwin.
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Did they approve all 3 minutes? I didn't.
No, I was just going to tell him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This one?
I caught it.
On the 19th. Oh, okay.
I'll go back and do that. All right, I move to approve the minutes from January 19th, 2022 council meeting. Is that the right one? Okay.
Second,
Any comments? No. Can we do a voice vote, please? Everyone in favor says aye.
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 It's to be Tuesday for home. I move to appoint the following volunteers to the board or committee shown in the table below for term indicated. Kristen Amos Abani, Environmental Advisor Committee alternate, February 28, 2027 expiration. Jan Morse, EAC, February 28, 2027 expiration. Gary Morse, EAC, February 28, 2027 expiration. Barbara Farrell, EAC alternate, February 28, 2025. Celeste Lezier, neighborhood crime resistance, February 28, 2024 expiration. Bill Powderly, neighborhood crime resistance, February 28, 2024. Paul Kemikata, planning commission, February 28, 2026 expiration. Jay Silverblatt, planning commission, February 28, 2026 expiration. J. Alexander Caldwell, planning commission alternate, February 28, 2026 expiration. Vivian Braz, Tree 2025 expiration. Myron Lewis, zoning hearing board, February 28, 2025 expiration. And Chelsea Blackburn Cohen, zoning board alternate, February 28, 2025.
Second,
Any comments? No? Can we do a roll call vote, please, Mr. Morris?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Mr. Burley?
Yes.
Mr. Marco?
yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
President Erwin.
Yes.
Oh, and I move to authorize appropriate borough officials to sign the LIHWAP vendor agreement as reviewed by the solicitor to participate in the low-income household water assistance program that permits households who meet 150% federal poverty income guidelines to get assistance for past due payments on drinking water and wastewater payments.
Any comments? I actually have a comment. We will actually publicize this on our website for people who are affected will actually have a chance to know about
And I suggest we also send notice of this effect to anyone who has delinquent payment fees.
Any other comments?
it. Can you do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Mr. Burley?
Yes.
Mr. Marco?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
President Erwin.
Yes.
All right, I believe you can read my general reports. At this point, that concludes my report. Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Next, we have Finance Committee, Vice President DeMarco.
Thank you, Mr. Oberdinger. I'd like to move to approve the payment of bills for the month of January in the following amounts. From the general fund budget, $142,299.72. From the corrective action budget, $27,436.26. From the fire protection fee, $3,752.84. From the road improvement fund, $27,150.31. And from the capital improvements plan, $14,480.97. And that would be for the road payment, the codification and the signage for the third sanctuary.
Do we have a second? Do you have any comments? Oh, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Mr. Burley?
Yes.
Mr. Marco?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
President Erwin.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 1236, authorizing the purchase of a bond for $500,000, covering tax collector Janet Sullivan for the collection of taxes.
Second? Yeah. Any comments? No. Can you do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Mr. Burley?
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
President Erwin.
Yes.
Make a motion to use the American Rescue Plan Act funds to pay the cost of improvements to the Ardmore sewer line that will be turned over to Alcoasand as part of the regionalization effort. This is only a partial use of this fund.
Second. Any other comments? Can you do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baoki?
Yes.
Mr. Burley?
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Mr. Watkins. President Earl.
Yes.
I move to donate $1,000 to the Ballard Arts Organization for the sculpture project at the corner of Ardmore and Braddock Avenue in front of the Veterans Home at that location.
Any comments?
This will be our first example of public art in the community, and I think it's well started in a very visible place. You recall that area was a blighted building for many, many years. And it's quite exciting to see it turning into a place of public art. With benches for the bus stop, which is even better.
Mr. Mayor, you had a comment?
I'm being a little nitpicky, but we might want to revise or amend the motion so that it reads at Ardmore and Braddock Road.
Yes.
Braddock Avenue doesn't exist.
Sounds reasonable. And I have a comment myself. If possible, I wonder if there must be some sketches, drawings, just for information purposes. And I would appreciate if someone would email us the picture, whatever it is.
There were a pile of them. I thought they went to everybody's mailbox.
Maybe it
No,
is,
I can
maybe.
get them.
Okay, then forget about it. All right, do any other comments? No? Can we do a roll call vote, please? And like Mr. Mayor, it should be Ardmore and Braddock.
Mr. Bileki.
Yes.
Mr. Relay.
Yes.
Mr. Marco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
And President Earl.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 1237, supporting a grant application from the Department of Community and Economic Development Gaming Funds for the rehabilitation of borough-owned walkways and steps. This is part of our active transportation plan implementation. I'm not sure what the total amount of the grant is, but it has to be a minimum of 25,000 and a maximum of $1 million. We're probably going to come in at around 300,000, but our engineers are giving us a final estimate. And what is due on March 15th.
Any other comments?
Is there a second? I'm sorry, I missed it. A second. Mr. Relay.
And can we do a roll call?
Mr. Bileki.
Yes.
Mr. Relay.
Yes.
Mr. Marco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Earl.
Yes.
I think of the remaining items, there's nothing new on the general report, and that concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Marco. Next, we move on to borough property. Ms. Marco.
Thank you, President Urbaniak. I move to authorize office staff to advertise and place the following items for sale on the municipal. And you can read the entire list. For the items in the motion, they're all on the agenda and can be read.
Second. Do you have any other comments? No, can we do a roll call, please?
Mr. Bileki.
Yes.
Mr. Relay.
Yes.
Mr. Marco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Earl.
Yes. So just a big timeout because my kids are on the list. So I would like to hand over to Gavin who would like to. I have to excuse myself.
Thank you, Vice President Marco. Move to approve the hire of applicants for summer recreation work at the pool as attached to this agenda.
Second.
I have a comment, please. I just wanted to note that there has been a change to one of the assistant swim team coaches that was on the full staff list that was approved at a past committee meeting. Anna Fisher is now an assistant swim team coach. Cindy Sim noted that Anna worked at the pool a few years back, in addition to being on the swim team for a number of years, so she is better qualified for the position. Thank you.
And that's included in the list.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Maybe we had a motion in a second, maybe our roll call vote, please.
I'm sorry. My computer's giving me problems. I apologize. Mr. Bileki.
Yes.
Mr. Relay.
Yes.
Ms. DeMarco.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
President Earl.
I'm excusing myself. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to move to accept the recommendation of the borough engineer and award the work for exterior painting at the Forest Hills Westinghouse Lodge to Donald Hoover and Son in the amount of $21,500 using paint purchased by the borough.
Do you have a second? Looks like we don't have a second, which means the motion fails.
Under my general report, the third sanctuary observation deck, the proposals were due February 16th. Did you have any information on that?
We did not receive any proposal. We sent out requests, it was advertised, it was also sent to 7 contractors who specialize in decks, and we did not receive any response. No bids were submitted.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, were any of that list from the co-stars? Or would that be a normal practice to request this from them?
Were they from her?
Co-stars from that list?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. The Westinghouse Lodge exterior painting. We're doing a lot of looking at the Westinghouse Lodge for several other projects that need to be done. And we're trying to work out a timeline and get the testing done that's needed there. The borough announces that the following surplus items will be considered for disposal and is first available for sale to the highest bidder as required by Borough Resolution 1057. Do I have to read all of these? Okay, the items are all listed on the agenda.
You should read what happens after the items. Yeah.
Sealed bids for this equipment will be accepted at the borough office no later than noon on Wednesday, March 16, 2022, placed in the drop box at the entrance or by mail, provided it arrives by this date and time, with any bids received opened by the chair of the Borough Property Committee at the council meeting party on Tuesday, March 23rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. Such property will be transferred to the highest bidder upon receipt of the bid amount in cash or by certified check. This notice will be posted as required on the bulletin board outside the entrance to the borough hall. That concludes my report.
Mr. Urban, sorry, can I just make a comment? One of many mistakes, it should say Wednesday, March 23rd. I apologize for all these errors. They're all mine. I take ownership. I apologize. It should say Wednesday, March 23rd. My fault.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Next, we move to planning and zoning, Mr. Colletti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have any motions today, but under my general report, there are 2 items. One, Mr. Branzel is reporting tree work in the borough. Violation letters have been issued, citations because of the snow problems that have been happening at the sidewalks. And also, Mr. Mayor, our building inspector underwriters reviewed several problems with fences. And that this wall that's at Wilkins Avenue, as we were reminded by Mr. Corwell, is an issue that the neighbors have to sort out. And doesn't have well together. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Colletti. We move on to public works committee, Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I make a motion to move to authorize a solicitor to prepare an advertisement ordinance that requires utilities and street openings in the borough to provide full width paving in the application.
Second. Do you have any comments on this? I actually have a question to Mr. Corval. Is it for sure a voice vote? Seems like roll
always allow everything.
Oh, I see. Okay, we do one vote, everyone in favor, says aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next, I move to approve McMahon Associates as the traffic engineer of record for Board of Appeals.
Second.
Any comments on this?
I'd like to comment just that Dave DeJoya and his team has been our engineer during the active transportation plan. They're currently working on a complete streets policy with the planning commission. And we'll be giving me the data that we need for our various grant applications that are currently in the works. And that would include not only the repair of the public steps, which we have to on tonight, but also potentially an electric vehicle charging station and some other aspects of that plan as we go toward it.
Thank you, Mr. Marco. Any other? Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bianchi?
Yes.
Mr. Relay?
Yes.
Mr. Marco?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
President Erlinger?
Yes.
Those are the only motions I have. The general report is available in the agenda notes if you want to go through it.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Next, we move to public safety, Mr. Oakley.
I have a motion to authorize the manager to prepare and advertise an ordinance restricting parking on the east side of Pacific Avenue between Lennox and Ivy Avenue.
Any comments? Okay, can we do a voice vote, please? Everyone in favor says aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Under general report that's available for anyone to read, I would like to comment, however, that Savvy Citizen, I think was brought up several times already, is now available on the website. It's been advertised there as a post. There's a page for it. And so there's multiple ways for folks to sign up. There are still some other avenues that we have to advertise that. And as the chief mentioned, we will be also notifying the users of SwiftReach regarding the transition that we're going to be making to Savvy Citizen. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Bianchi. It concludes our meeting, so we can adjourn by acclamation. No objection, so we adjourn. And the next scheduled council meeting is March 23rd. on Wednesday. No, we talked about it. We go in the second session. No. We're not taking that. Oh.
I'm set to pick up that for a while. I think, but I don't know what he heard. Depends on